Everyone. This is David March from the Innovative Marketing Solutions. We have another episode here of the Growth Mindset podcast. If you've been following me, this is season 2, and Dave has been on season 1, and now we have Dave on season 2. So we're excited to get him on the podcast here, talk about some marketing concepts and his business and what's going on in the world in AI. Dave, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm a Californian living in Central or Eastern Europe. Depends on how your map looks. I live in the country of the Slovak Republic during a heat wave, which is quite pleasant. I started my first business when I was a teenager or just after, yeah, still a teenager. Exited, wasn't a great exit, but that's a whole different story for a whole nother time. Built another company, sold my shares in that in 2018. I co-founded a company which was content marketing focused for B2B SaaS. We had like 80% churn in June of 2024, as soon as OpenAI became readily accessible to everyone. And then didn't freak out though, because I was already co-founding something called Purple Path, where I sit now. There are 4 partners, and I head up everything around content marketing, but it goes a bit beyond that nowadays, AI and also strategy in general. So yeah, that's my story.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So when it comes to like the content marketing side, you work more with the branding, or you work more of like creating the posts. Like what type of work do you do around there?
So I would expand a bit on that. So a lot of our customers, for example, they're big enough where they have PR agencies. So I manage the PR agencies. I handle their external agencies that they're working with, film crews. I focus on the customer marketing, a little bit of partner marketing for the customer. When you think of content, content is a very, very massive, it's not a bucket. It's a gigantic pool. Within that pool, there are several buckets. So one would be, for example, social media. Then social media has multiple tiers, right? So now, I'm not just talking about platforms like LinkedIn versus Instagram. I'm talking about the different channels the business can use on LinkedIn as a growth mechanism. So that even means I take over thought leadership. So I'll do syncs with the founders of the business once a week for 30 minutes. It's a recorded call that then gets translated into long form content. So they have a Pulse article plus post, but also it kind of feeds the AEO, GEO engine as well, which is heavily my role in the world at the moment. So what we try to do at all times is, rather than looking at what was working a year ago or today, our CEO at Purple Path is quite a visionary. He's always looking 18 months, 24 months down the line. So he called me one day and he goes, "Look, you're the content guy. Go become an expert in AEO and GEO and build me a platform." I was like, you want me to do what now?" So so I had to consolidate about 2 years worth of learning into months, and now we're selling it into businesses. We're always Purple Path's brand is always kind of the training center. So whatever skill I want to learn, we train on our own brand first, and then we can slowly scale it out from there. We already have a customer, there's a need, let's just drop it in there and, let's test it out a bit more there. So yeah, it's been going well, and I was looking at our reporting today, and we're crushing our competitor
Nice.
perspective.
Noise.
Content for me covers it's a very wide net of things you have to capture within content, especially nowadays, right? And everyone has 5 seconds of attention. So, so how are you?
Yeah. Yeah. The big thing that I think about when it comes to content is really like making it consistent amongst all the platforms. So there must be some kind of like ICP holder, or like some holder of your brand identity, so that it can be consistent amongst your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your emails, all the different I don't know, channels that you would have to get on there.
Yeah. So there's this really cool platform that everyone's probably heard of. It's called Plot. For us, what we do is each customer gets a project. We keep feeding that project all the specific information, the positioning, the messaging, the brand guidelines, the product documentation, everything goes in there. So while you're creating content, you can always go back to that and say, check this for me and make sure it matches up, as you are the single source of truth. Don't forget to refer back to documentation and messaging and all that stuff. But it's still, there's this battle and this struggle. But the answer is yes. You want to standardize several things. Formats will change. The tone needs to kind of stay the same. But I would say that TikTok and LinkedIn are perfect examples of maybe where you have some tweaks on the tone. Because I think on LinkedIn for B2B, right, people would go on there to get a longer, more actionable like thing. Well, that's the way it was, but now it's more of like LinkedIn is the new Facebook, but for B2B. But for TikTok, yeah, it can probably be a bit more human to human, a little bit less educational, far more viral, if that makes sense. You want to catch on your trends there. So, but you still need to standardize. There needs to be a baseline. This is who we are always, no matter where we appear, no matter who's on stage. These are the things we always point to. And that goes throughout everything. Even if you're interviewing a customer for a video customer story or a video case study, then there's still some things you need to make sure that when you're preparing for that customer to speak, you're using the data as a performance, like a way to performance measure, right? So they implemented this tech. This tech, they got X, Y, and Z. They did very good. ROI was instant. It was only 10 days of onboarding. The whole team is screaming. We're happy. That's their narrative, but you need to figure out how that narrative fits into your narrative. So it's really important that from a storytelling perspective, we prepare them like to talk about these things. One of the things we're trying to sell right now is the AI component of the tech. Can we also touch on that, please? Right. So that's
Yeah,
basically it.
yeah, and it's not easy. It's not easy to kind of how do you say weave it in. That's what I was looking for. You kind of weave it in and out.
Yeah, it should be almost like it should be like you're driving on the main highway and there's offshoots of the highway. You can like get in the right lane as if you're gonna exit, but don't fully exit. That's dangerous.
Yeah, bear to the right, bear to the left.
You could end up in a forest and have no idea where you're at. So yeah, you always need to. The highway's got a few lanes. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
stay with
for
it. Yeah,
sure,
lanes.
for
These
sure.
are yeah.
Yeah, and so in terms of content, do you also create like white papers and stuff or no?
This is the trigger. So no,
Uh,
that motion is dead, dead and buried. So there's a shift, and it's our job as a go-to-market partnership for tech companies to educate. So I'll tell you who downloads white papers, and I told you this I think before is that white papers are downloaded by other people who create white papers, so we can see how we should create our white paper. Now, to use it as a mechanism to drive MQLs, to hopefully drive them down a funnel, eventually getting them to buy what you're selling, it's a very far leap. It did work for a while, 2015, 2018. It was the only thing we really had other than paid ads, right? But I would say that nowadays, it's all about intent data, looking at first party, second party, and third party data. That actually will tell you a better story. Part of the like doing account based marketing is first understanding who you want to target, literally a list of accounts that you actually could do business with in specific regions based on all different types of criteria. Target the hell out of them. Target them with everything you've got. Make sure that those, 8, 10 decision makers in that business, they see you every time they turn on the internet. Every time they walk out the door of their office, there you are. You know, and one of the things, there's a really great tool out there. So wherever you are in your, if there's someone listening that wherever you are in your journey, there's a really cool tool called Lead Feeder. Lead Feeder, it's GDPR compliant. It's also it's compliant to the CCPA. They take data from companies visiting your website, and it's compiled. Somebody visited your website from companies X, Y, and Z. There's been 4 people from X, and they've looked at these pages, these pages, these pages, including your pricing page. That's a better intense signal than somebody downloading a white paper for information, right?
yeah.
So intent data is not only the future, but it's now. It's now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say that the intent data is really something I get interested in too. Yeah, you have your first party signals, which are like, yeah, looking at the white paper, things like that. And then you have your third party signals, which is, you could be using Clay, you could be using Apollo, some kind of other third party signal. When it comes to white papers, I think what's more important is the tracking on the cookies. Because if you get them to click on a link, then you can track them to going on the website. Then you can track to see if they clicked on the pricing page. And now you have first party intent data through the actual white paper, but it's not the actual white paper that's doing it. It's the
I think
tracking data.
it's a better story. So the better story is they downloaded the white paper. They found it interesting. At least the branding's there, right? They know they may or may not be aware of the brand because they're just reading the information. But if you see them coming back to your website, or they're going to G2, G2's on its way out maybe too, or Capterra, they're looking at peer reviews, right? And then they're going to, and then basically you're using something like Clay or Lead Feeder, or this tells a much tighter story. There's definitely an interest. They're probably in the market to buy something. Sales and marketing should now come together to make some plays to ensure that we're talking to them, right? And really start to engage with it. That engagement piece is really, really important as well. Sending a nurturing email, okay, okay. It's really hard to convert. It's really hard to convert just by sending emails nowadays.
Yeah.
I'd be hitting them up on LinkedIn, like find the six decision makers in that business, connect with them, drop them a message, see if they want to actually give them free stuff, learn more. Like, these are how we've helped this company. This is how we've helped this company. Do you find that these things are kind of similar to what you guys are dealing with? Start a discussion, build a relationship. I don't know the exact number, but the amount of touch points needed to sell enterprise B2B software or tech, it's a lot of touch points. It's not 10, it's not 60, it's over that. Especially nowadays. They have to come into they have to come into contact with you and your brand so many times that you can't just like send an email, send them once a week, hope for the best. You're talking about, let's say it doesn't end up in spam. I don't know about you, Dave, but I get a lot of emails. I get nurtured as well. I'm being offered software and all different types of solutions and agencies, services. And 99.9% of the time, garbage. I don't even open them anymore. I unsubscribe. Sometimes I even say, like, how the hell did you get my contact? I'm usually pretty nice, but there's that 0.1% chance will they'll break through the noise. And it's usually like a LinkedIn message, or actually, Dave, you and I met also through LinkedIn, right? You pointed out last time. So yeah, I am 100%. You should buy a lottery ticket today. Good yeah. So there is a pivot in marketing. Like the old playbook, it's just not enough. We have to think in terms of an actual story. It's kind of a twofold story. They're telling us a story by consuming data. Data we need to understand, which is understanding the story. So, and then we're feeding them a story, and they're feeding us a story back, and we really need to like understand what's going on.
There's a lot. There's really a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, even if you just look at AEO these days, like it's all based on prompts. You're supposed to be measuring prompts in LLM. So you have to guess. That's literally where we're at in all of this. You have to guess what the question is that someone asks ChatGPT, where you would be referred to in that answer, right? Or Perplexity or Claude or something
Yeah.
like this.
That was the craziest thing that happened to me. Someone actually reached out to me back when I was in my career coaching days. They reached out to me saying, "I got your information from ChatGPT." I was like, "I have no idea how to repeat this. I have no idea how to repeat this."
Well, luckily, we're finding repeatable processes, and we're doing something called prompt improvements at all times. So,
Yeah.
but almost all of our prompts are being measured. You can measure it through different platforms. We use Otterly AI. It's a great platform, top 3 platforms that exist out there. But I know HubSpot now has AEO, HubSpot AEO. But even that,
What is AEO, just for people who don't understand it?
it's the I wanted to say generative, but that's the GEO side of it. So it's AI engine optimization. But then you have
Okay, so it's like SEO, but for AI.
yeah, it's exact. Well, it is. It's yes, lack of better terms. That's exactly what it is. The only problem is now the SEO is dead, and I believe it's going to be completely dead within 6 months. Doesn't exist for humans anymore, and that's wild to think about. It means that LLMs, like I don't know if it's monthly or quarterly, are consuming more content online than humans are. Which means, as a writer myself, like I kind of cut my teeth in this industry by being a writer. I decided like, oh, I want to write. I want to be a content writer. I want to write like headlines, and I want to write blogs, and that's how I got started. But now it's kind of hurts my soul that humans aren't consuming the content. It's LLMs because,
Yeah.
but I am one of those people. I go to Claude and I say, Claude, I'll give you an example. This week is my 15-year wedding anniversary. My wife and I are going to Vienna. So I was like, okay, so I know where I'm going to stay because we've stayed in this hotel many times, but I really want to have a nice dinner around. Do I want to go to Google and really turn this into a in 1 hour ordeal? No, I'm just going to go to Claude. Claude, this is the address where I'm staying. I'm looking for like a nice kind of not totally schmoozy restaurant, but something, middle of the road because we're not very color pie type people, but we also want a nice evening. Boom. List of 10 restaurants, phone numbers, everything. It's just like,
And it knows you, and it knows you already, and it knows you. It's like, oh, you're gonna like this.
yeah, it knows I want steak and it knows I want wine. What else? But there's that 0 click kind of results are what people are looking for. It's the same with the shorts movement, right? YouTube shorts, Instagram shorts, Facebook shorts. It's because they want it's like crap. They want you as a consumer, or your attention span is getting like less and less and less. And this kind of feeds that nature in you. The same thing is with using AI to to find what you're looking for. It removes a lot of barrier. You don't have to click through anything. I actually talk to I have ChatGPT in my phone and I actually built my own agent because I go to the gym and I have nutrition and all the stuff that I follow. I built my own nutrition agent and counts all my macros. All I do is talk to it after each meal. And so, like, if I was to go, how would I do that in Google? You know what I mean? Like, there's a disconnect there. So it is. We are going in this direction. It's where we're at and it's where we're headed. The question is, how far will this go? And I don't know the answer, but I do know that SEO is gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, the people that spend so long on AI, on SEO, like their whole entire lives are SEO. There's like years of just experience, dedication, work. So it kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
that's the good news. So, like, if you are an SEO expert, the leap to get good at AEO is it's far less than starting at zero trying to become an SEO expert. So the leap is it's you still need keywords. Keywords can inform your prompts, right? Because that's how you're being found. You look in Google Search Console and you'd say, okay, so how are we being found? What are the queries? Those queries that you're being found for should be basically fed into how you would create your prompt. But then there's a hack though. So anyone who's listening who wants to get involved in this, there's a hack. You can take those keywords, drop them into your favorite LLM and say, how are people actually asking these questions in you about these topics? There, you have your prompts. Now that's version one. You have to refine them over time and get better at it. But so when your prompts start to show up and you're getting measured, let's say one of your prompts has a really good result. Like obviously for us, we want to show up as the best fractional marketing agency in all of Europe. So we naturally know that even like if you ask anybody, how do you find the best? What is the question you ask when you're looking for the best agency or restaurant or sites to see on vacation? It's what are the best agencies in Europe? We want to win that prompt, right? That's the battlefield for us. So in doing that, it's important that I go out and make content that feeds back to that prompt, right? So it's kind of easy. So if you're an SEO expert, this leap isn't very far. It's not very far, and it's probably even more simplified, I would say, than SEO.
That's great. That's great. So they're not losing their shit.
Yeah, don't lose your shit. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't panic. You're gonna be fine. Take those keywords you've been working years on. Take your link building skills because those are still necessary here. And
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get on Reddit a little bit though, and you're gonna have to start publishing stuff there too. Oh yeah,
Totally.
the LLMs are scraping Reddit as one of the I think top three resources for answers.
I saw that. I saw that. There's when you do a search, it shows like your different things that it got the information from Reddit. I think Reddit and LinkedIn are like top sources.
That was until about an hour ago, I thought, when I read something that LinkedIn is going to be in the top three now as well. So if you're on LinkedIn and you're hesitant to use it, but I have to research it. So I'm just giving you like news I read an hour ago.
Yeah.
So basically it's saying do product forward content, educational content, not brand words, buzzy brand words. So I have to look into it. If that's the case, then like our customers will be fine because we're heavy on their LinkedIn side. So we lean into that pretty heavily. Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. Well, we're gonna wind down here on the Growth Mindset podcast. I think it's a good episode. We got some good topics in there. Is anything else you want to share? Any pearls of wisdom that you have before we end this?
Let's see. Intent data. We talked about that. We talked about content marketing and AEO, which is the new black. And Martech, make sure you have the right stuff in place. I would say if you do those three things, straight to Mars you go.
Yeah, that's another thing. You got to have the CRM and the back end stuff to track all that, so you can again have some kind of folder of all this tracking data because you know, it's like, yeah, if you like I do a lot with the link clicking, but it's more about the tracking of the links than it is about the content of the white paper. So if you don't have that set up in your CRM to give you those signals, you can't really take action on 'em.
Yeah, that's just, just remember, like, it's one thing to tell your story and to but you still have to understand the story that's being told back to you from the data. And yeah, we have we do have a playbook on like the martech we use across these businesses, and it's complex, but it all makes sense. It's not as easy as just having a CRM. Depends on what you're doing, what you're selling, and who you're selling it to, and where, right? But there's a playbook for this. So yeah.
And they can find that playbook on propapath.io.
Yes, sir. It's totally free. It's a white paper. Go get it. Hit me up. I'll send you a screenshot of it. Awesome.
How can they find you, Dave?
Yeah, we're purple path.
Perfect. Perfect. All right.
I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Dave.
And you're on LinkedIn, yeah, just like everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. I was one of the OGs on LinkedIn, though. My numbers don't
Yeah.
reflect that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. I've been on there for a long time too.
Yeah. I think it was probably 2018, 2019 when I got semi-serious. In 2020, I got very serious about it, I would say.
Yeah.
And then the algorithm
Yeah.
banned 2 years later, so that was that. So
Yeah, I mean, from a recruiting perspective, I was in it from like 2018, 2017. Yeah, so I'm right there with you.
yeah, yeah. We're OGs, man.
Oh, geez, for sure, for life.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right, man. Well, thanks everyone for your long attention span. And if you want to find out more about the Growth Mindset podcast, we're on LinkedIn as well. And for now, peace.